Hi, welcome to Butterfly Meadows Home and Farm. Today I am going to be talking about making bread and the ingredients that go into bread. Recently I made a video on making bread in the bread machine for beginners, and I'll put the link here so you can check that out. And today I want to talk about some things that will help you troubleshoot what might be wrong with your bread if you're trying to make bread and the loaf is just not coming out the way you want it to. I think it will help us if we understand the ingredients that go into bread and the role that they play. That'll help us to know maybe what's wrong with our bread as it's making, and we can see how it's mixing together. So I hope you'll find this video helpful, and you can leave your questions and comments below the video, and I will try to answer them as quickly as I can. So first, let's talk about the ingredients. The number one ingredient, of course, in bread is flour. And there are so many different kinds of flour out there on the market. And we have people who are gluten-free, and you have people who want, whole wheat bread and different kinds of bread. But when you change that flour from the bread flour that is normally used in making bread, what does that do to the recipe? What does that do to the outcome of your bread? Well, the role that flour plays, of course, other than making the bread being the main ingredient, is the different flours have different amounts of protein in them. And usually on the bag of flour somewhere, it will tell you the percent of protein in the flour. Now, bread flour has just the right amount. I think it's between 12 and 14% of protein is in bread flour. All-purpose flour has just a little less, not quite as much. And then the other flours all have less than bread flour unless you buy a high gluten flour, which would have a little more. And a high gluten flour makes a really soft loaf of bread, really nice texture. But bread flour is ideal. But when you change flours, take note of the amount of protein that is in the flour. Now, unless you're trying to avoid gluten, you can buy gluten to add in to your flour, and that will help the bread to have a better texture. Otherwise, you're going to have to expect, with less protein, you're going to have to expect a denser loaf, a loaf that is not as airy and doesn't rise the same, and even the texture will be different. It will not be as soft because of the gluten. So gluten, to me, it is the stretch of the bread. It is what gives the bread its strength and allows the dough to stretch as the bread is baking. So that's why different kinds of flour produce different kinds of outcome. And things like whole wheat flour, even the whole grain that is in that flour hinders the gluten formation, as well as the flour already has less gluten than the bread flour in the first place. So sometimes you can maybe do half whole wheat and half bread flour, or mix different kinds of flour together. You will still get bread. It will just not be as soft and fluffy as bread made with bread flour. But that is the role that gluten plays, and the different flours play a role in how much gluten you are going to have in your bread. The next thing I want to talk about is the liquid in the bread. So for example, the recipe in my video, I believe it calls for 1 1/3 cup of water, room temperature water. And that amount of water, with the ratio of flour, which is 3 cups, so it's half the amount of water to flour, will normally turn out a pretty nice loaf of bread. But the recipe also calls for dry milk, and some people don't have dry milk and want to use liquid milk, and it calls for like 1/3 of a cup of dry milk. If you add 1/3 of a cup of liquid milk to that recipe and do not reduce the water by 1/3 of a cup, your dough is going to be too soft and too loose, and you won't get a good rise. So the amount of liquid in your recipe determines how thick your dough ball is going to be, or if you can even form a dough ball. If there's too much water, too much liquid in the mixture, then it will be more like cake batter and it won't form a dough ball. This will be disastrous because you won't get any gluten formed because there's no stretch going on, and you won't get a good rise at all out of your bread. So liquid is important. The amount of liquid is important. Now, if you add anything to your bread recipe that is considered a liquid, you need to reduce the amount of water by that amount. And that includes liquid milk, eggs. I can't think of anything else right off, but there are many things that people might want to add to their bread. And if it is liquid, you need to reduce the amount of water by that same amount, because the liquid, of course, helps everything to blend together. But if you have too much or too little, it will inhibit the way the dough ball mixes, and therefore the gluten forms, and therefore the rise happens, and the whole texture of the bread will be different. And then also there is sugar that we put in bread. And so what role does sugar play? So the sugar's main job is to feed the yeast. So the yeast has to have a food source, and the sugar is the main source of food for the yeast. The yeast also will break down the proteins and help the gluten form and different things, but the sugar is the main food source and kind of gets it going. And then it also sugar adds flavor. Sugar will help the outer crust of the bread to brown, and sugar helps the bread to hold moisture and improves the texture of your bread. And so you want to make sure you have the right amount of sugar, because that's important to your yeast being successful at doing its job. And then what is the role of yeast? Well, the yeast is what ferments your bread. And by ferment, we mean the yeast will begin to eat the sugar, and then when it eats the sugars out of the bread, it produces gases which cause the dough to rise. And yeast also gives flavor. It helps the gluten to form properly, and just gives bread that taste and texture that we are so accustomed to. And you want to make sure you put the called for amount of yeast. If you put too much, what's going to happen is your bread is going to be full of bigger holes, and it is going to rise up really big, too big for the strength of the bread to hold, and then it's going to sink in the middle. And so it will be dense. When it sinks, then it'll be dense in that area that it collapsed. So you want to make sure you put the right amount, and the role is to get your flavor and help your gluten form, and the main thing is to get the bread to rise. But remember, the rise can't happen no matter how well the yeast works if your dough is too dry or too wet, especially too wet. You don't want your dough to be too wet. And then salt is usually in bread, and it is for flavor enhancement. It helps the flavor of everything. Salt brings out flavor. That's what salt does. That's why we put salt on our food when we eat and when we cook, because salt just helps the flavor of the food to come out. And then also there is fat, and this can be butter, oil, lard, Crisco, whatever kind of fat that you want to use. And fat helps the bread to be soft. It improves the texture of the bread, and it also adds flavor, and the flavor that it adds, of course, is dependent on the kind of fat that you used. So you'll get a little different flavor with butter than you would oil, than you would lard. So that's the role that fat plays. And then the next thing is not actually an ingredient, but it's very important, and that is kneading. What does kneading do? Like, why do we need bread? Why is that necessary? Why can't we just mix all of these ingredients together and get bread? Well, you would get bread, but it would not have very good texture. And kneading mixes all the ingredients together, as well as helps the gluten develop. When you start kneading your dough, you will notice that it's not very stretchy and won't hold together. But as you knead it, it gets stretchy and stronger, and it helps get the air pockets out. There are usually a knead and a rise and a knead and a rise, usually 3 when you're making bread. And each time you knead, it helps develop gluten. It gets rid of the air pockets so that we don't have big holes in our bread, and makes the texture much smoother, and a much better crumb in the bread. And it gives it that elasticity and texture that we expect from our bread. So the kneading is also very important. So as you're making your bread, don't be afraid to look in your bread machine if you're using a bread machine. Observe your bread. Make sure the texture is correct. If it's too dry, add a tablespoon of milk or water at a time. If it is too wet, add a tablespoon of flour at a time, until the dough begins to stick together and look really smooth and pull away from the bowl. If it's sticking ooey gooey to your bowl, you need more flour. If there is flour all in your bowl and not sticking to the dough ball itself, then you need more water. And it's okay to tweak these things as you go along, because flour can be difficult to measure. Unless you're weighing your flour and you're using the cup measurements, which is what I do most of the time. I just measure by cupfuls. Depending on how much air is in that flour and different things, you're probably not going to get the exact amount of flour every time. That's why you need to look and see what's going on. Do I need to add water or milk, or do I need to add flour? So I hope these things will help you as you are on your journey in learning to make bread and make that perfect loaf. I feel like if you understand the role these things play, it will help you in mixing your ingredients and getting that wonderful, fresh baked loaf of bread that you and your family love so much. So just leave me any questions you have below, and I will do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.